Hello and welcome to episode 351 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. And let's start off with our Steeler moment, Jace. I thought outmanned, out-talented. I thought they played hard, overcoming a really abysmal start.
Abysmal start.
Got it within a touchdown, and Josh Allen took over, and they covered the 10 points, and that's about what I thought. I was sorry to see it. I thought Mason played well. I think he threw for two touchdowns, one pick. It was a bad pick. It cost points. I mean, that was probably a 14-point swing.
14-point swing. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that was big. It was a big turnover, and the Pickens win also resulted in 7 points. So they shot themselves in the foot. They got behind early, and it put a lot of pressure on them. But Baltimore, Buffalo definitely had the better team. I can't argue with the result.
No, I mean, they ran the ball down Pittsburgh's throat today. So, not even
And
including.
a lot of bad tackling by Pittsburgh, especially on the last run by Shakur.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
And the Josh Allen run, it just kept seeming like nobody wanted to hit him. And he just rode right past those last three or four guys.
I mean, it was like a steamroller. He had a lot of momentum going on, and I don't know if anyone could get in front of him or not.
Yeah. And I mean, the Steelers, obviously no Watt. Fryermuth was in and out of the game with injury. Joey Porter left. They were missing a lot of players. We talked a little
two
bit.
Sacks,
Yeah.
and Buffalo usually doesn't give up many sacks. So Highsmith had a sack, and I think
Marcus Golden. Yeah.
Marcus Golden had a sack. But no turnovers was the other big thing for Buffalo. And they've been turning the ball over.
Yeah, because everybody.
Josh Allen was turning the ball over all year. He did not turn the ball over.
He did not. And I guess our final Steeler moments are, they're going to be picking in the 20s, which means, a first round quarterback is most likely off the table. And if they bring back any combination of these three, it's got to be an open competition where Mason Rudolph can be the starter, right? That's what we're saying.
I agree. Yep, that's what we're saying.
He's looked
But
like
we're also saying that he didn't get treated well last year when they said it was going to be an open competition, or the year before, and just it was unfair.
It was.
And so I don't blame him if he's skeptical.
No. I mean, if I'm him and the Browns come calling, I'd be tempted because I feel like I could win that quarterback competition.
I think they're going to bring back Joe.
Yeah, to compete
They'll bring
with.
back Flacco and Deshaun Watson, see what they have. I mean, but it's pretty incredible. You're paying one guy $1 bazillion, and you're paying the other guy probably not much more than the NFL minimum when you sign him.
Yeah. But, I mean, as bad as Flacco looked, and we'll get to that game next, he looked fantastic for the last 6 weeks of the season.
He did. They don't get in if it's not for him.
No. But their defense did not look good this week. They got destroyed.
No, the number one defense got shredded. So let's talk about that game. Let's talk about Houston and Cleveland. I was blown away by Stroud. I mean, he's unbelievable.
He is. I've seen him a couple times this year, and every time you watch him, he seems fully in command of the offense. Just like Brady and Manning and those guys in the past, he's not a runner, but he knows where to move in the pocket. And he throws such a pretty ball. Yeah. And he leads
long pass he threw to the tight end. That was beautiful.
Yeah. He leads guys open.
He reached out and dropped it in.
Yeah, he does not look like a rookie. Did not turn the ball over very much this year. And he made Nico Collins a lot of money, I'm assuming, moving forward.
Nico Collins, and I hadn't seen Nico Collins. As I'm watching this game, I'm thinking, man, I'd have any of these guys on my fantasy team.
No. And I don't think
really good.
And going into the season, I don't think you would, right?
I don't think you would either. No.
And
so where do you see? Okay, so now we're going to talk Houston, Baltimore.
Yeah, in Baltimore next Saturday at 4:30. Yeah.
I'm not convinced Houston can't win.
No, C.J. Stroud is getting into that very quickly into that category of quarterbacks where if they're on the other team, no matter what the odds are, you feel like maybe they got a shot, right? And it seems
Right, and
early.
I love I love the defense that DeMarco has put in there.
Yeah. They had two pick sixes on Joe yesterday on
Yeah.
back to back throws.
So really, really, I'm really impressed. I think it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that one. And then I guess since we just talked Buffalo, we should probably talk the other AFC game, right? It's the Chiefs.
And Kansas City looked really good, but they're going to play on the road. They're going to play in Buffalo. I don't know if that really necessarily is going to bother Mahomes. I really don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And Kelsey was back playing well, catching balls over the middle.
Rice looked good.
Rice looked really good. Pacheco looked good.
Even Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a couple nice plays.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting game.
Yeah, the only thing that bums you out is there was that early play to Hardman where Hardman had a step, and it wasn't a perfect throw, but Hardman didn't seem like he had any idea where Patrick Mahomes threw the ball. And
No, I'm not big on him.
no, but we've seen that's been the Chiefs' downfall all year is that those balls where you hope your receiver gets whether it's Kadarius Toney, Hardman, Valdez, Scandling, like none of these guys seem to make the consistent good
No.
plays, right?
And really, none of them should. I don't think Eddie should bring back any of those guys. I think they should sign some free agents and use some draft picks on some talented receivers.
Yeah, I'd bring back Rasheed Rice, and that's pretty much it.
That's exactly where I am.
Because Sky Moore seems to have busted. I think
I was
Tony was.
surprised they still had the Belldozer.
Yeah. I thought Tony
That
was.
Watson guy's not bad.
Yeah, he's
He
okay.
gets open. He doesn't catch everything, but he gets open.
It's true. And then I guess you ready to talk about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? That was 27-0 and over. And as good as C.D. Lamb looked all year, he did not look good last night. He still had 100 yards,
Yeah.
but a lot of that was at the end. Dak made the turnovers that he hadn't been making when they were winning big at home. My guy, Jason Ferguson, the tight end,
3 touchdowns.
was 3 touchdowns. And Jace, your boy is at the Buccaneers game. Ric Flair,
Oh yeah.
he's leading the cheers at the Buccaneers game.
Nice. And not to sound like a gloating T.J. Watt for Defensive Player of the Year, but Micah Parsons also had 2 tackles, none for a loss, no sacks. Just throwing it out there.
And Myles Garrett didn't do anything either.
And Myles Garrett did nothing either. And I know T.J. Watt was
Yeah.
injured, but in their must-win game of Week 17 to get in the playoffs, Watt had 2 sacks and like 9 tackles.
Yeah.
So
No, I'd vote for him again. I'm biased, but I would vote for him again.
I'm clearly
He
biased.
lead the league 3 times in sacks.
Yeah.
First player ever did it 3 times.
And
Or did Reggie White do it 3 times?
no, well, not officially. I think they said what's his face may have done it officially before it became a stat, but it's just the Watt brothers at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and while we're just I sort of went off on a tangent, but the way PFF is grading people, they are deciding pass rusher win rate, and that's how they're deciding that Micah Parsons is the best player. And I don't.
If you beat your guy and you don't make a tackle, what good is it?
Yeah, I know, and and pressures are one of those stats where it's like they're all pretty close. So I don't know where they're going with it, but that's their thought process. It seems very, very weird. But on the other side of the ball, Jordan Love looks
Incredible.
great.
Really poised. And I mean, again, you have any of those receivers on your fantasy team, did you?
I had Christian Watson all year.
Okay, Christian Watson, but I mean, all the other guys.
Yeah, because they just it seems like whether it's Dobbs or Watson or whoever, there's somebody new every week.
But you talk about scheming to get some guys open. I mean, that one that they threw to Dobbs in the last touchdown they scored,
Yeah,
or next to last touchdown, that was ridiculous. He was the only one on that side of the field.
yeah. I'm waiting to see that happen with our Steelers. Not to bring that back up again, but yeah,
That was unbelievable.
unbelievable. And so we had 2 quarterbacks making their debuts, and Stroud and Jordan Love that both looked absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to both those dudes. because they were
So
great.
now we have the 49ers and the Packers, right?
We do.
Uh,
And the Packers were one of those teams, like, they looked like a disappointment for the beat. They came out, I think they looked really good week 1 and 2. And then they had a real bad lull. And then they just sort of
and then they
came,
got hot.
then they got
They
hot.
got
Now, it's hard to
the
imagine them go.
49ers had a down time in the middle of the year too.
Yeah. It's very hard to imagine them beating San Francisco, though, right?
I don't think they're going to beat San Francisco in San Francisco. And
No.
San Francisco's had 2 weeks to prepare. But I guarantee you, they weren't preparing for the Packers.
No. And I'm sure they were probably rooting for Dallas.
Uh, no. Because everybody said Dallas had the easiest march to the finals, remember?
Yeah.
Because Dallas is going to win and play the winner of the Bucks and the Eagles
Oh, that's right.
at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah,
They were going to get another home game. So let's talk about our other NFC game.
Let's talk.
So it's going to be the winner of the Bucks and the Eagles.
Yeah.
And who do they play? Let's think about it.
The winner of the Bucks and the Eagles goes to
Plays the Lions.
Lions,
At
yeah.
the Lions.
In Detroit.
And you know what? I think that one's wide open because, like I told you offline, I mean, it seems like the Lions come out firing on all cylinders, but they scored 21 points in the first half and 3 in the second half.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
It is. And their running game got kind of shut down in that second half.
Yeah.
But you look at the Lions, and you got Amon St. Brown. You have Jamison Williams, who occasionally makes a really good play. You got Laporta, greatest rookie tight end ever. You have the two backs in Gibbs and Montgomery and a solid offensive line. Like, they have all the tools, right?
They do.
And they're playing at home in the dome. And they've got an offensive coordinator that everybody wants as their next head coach.
And their defense is decent.
Yeah. Hutchinson's very good. Puts the
But,
pressure.
I mean, Stafford looked really, really good last night.
Yeah, that was.
I actually thought they were going to win. Even though they were down. They were down 14, right?
Yeah, they got down. It was like 17-3 at one point, and then the game
And
flipped.
I really thought the Rams were going to come back and win that. I really did because Puka is unbelievable, and you put him with Cup and the tight end. They've got a great quarterback to get rid of the ball. I mean, they've got a great offense, and I know that I picked them last in that division.
Oh yeah, well, because they had like 35 street free agents. But you look at, I mean, if you bring it into both real season and fantasy season, Williams the running back and Puka probably shifted a number of fantasy leagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that probably weren't drafted were picked up sometime early week 1, and now look at them.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think I feel pretty good.
It's going to be some really good football next weekend.
Oh, Vic, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So let's get back to talk about Dallas. And I tweeted out at halftime last night that I think Belichick is going to be the coach of the Cowboys. 1, Jerry Jones loves a splash.
Yeah.
2, Jerry Jones loves the Parcells, the Jimmy Johnsons, the guys that are really dominant, the guys that really don't put up with much. They're really tight. They have a system. I think that's what he wants.
Agreed.
I mean, Mike McCarthy did a great job. I mean, 3 years in a row, you win 12 games. Great. He had a great offense. And the defense, wasn't it the number one defense?
I think they were for part of the season.
At home or something.
At home, yeah.
There's some stat. But they didn't do anything. They got shredded.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah Parsons was a non-factor just as much as Myles Garrett was a non-factor in his game. I mean, all these ballyhooed guys, they didn't do anything.
Nothing. And that's when the game was on the line and the game mattered, right?
Yeah, and it's a big game. And I mean, but you're down 27-0 in halftime. Or they scored right before the half, right? Was it 27-7 at the half?
I think so, yeah. Because I got a little nervous.
I think so.
Yeah. We are anti-Cowboy people for the most part.
Yeah.
And if you're Belichick and that record for most wins by a coach means anything to you, the Cowboys are a pretty appealing spot to go, right?
Absolutely.
because you're
and you're going to have all kind of resources. You got great facilities, probably the best facilities in the NFL.
yeah.
You got to let him do whatever he wants to do, bring in whoever he wants to bring in. He's not going to be the GM. He's not going to make the draft picks. That's
No.
the only thing he might not like.
And I'm sure getting that defense with Parsons and those guys would just make him drool. And
Yeah.
then an offense that's pretty solid to start with. You bring in a few other people here and there, and but again, I think that's a guaranteed 10 wins a year for the next 2 years if you're the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
Because the only other team, the only
Right.
other team Belichick has been linked to has been the Falcons. Thinking if he can bring a
Well,
quarterback in there, and you're in a division with the Saints, Carolina, who looks like the worst team in football, and the Buccaneers, who knows what they're going to be, that'd be the other place he could go and maybe get 10, 11 wins a year. So,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going to take the Carolina job. But speaking of somebody whose stock dropped, Dan Quinn's stock had a drop yesterday.
oh, I think so.
I mean, he had no answers. He couldn't adjust. They just kept doing whatever they wanted to do. So my other coaching pick is Harbaugh to the Chargers. I know he was talking to him today, but it's the perfect place for him to go.
Yeah.
He loves California. He's coached in California before. I think he's from California. You got a great quarterback. You got all kind of talent, and nobody's been able to gel that talent.
No.
And that's what he'll do.
And he was
it's a great spot for him.
Yeah, and if people forget, like, he took a team to the Super Bowl as an NFL coach, so he's not just a college guy. Yeah, so.
No.
And he lost.
I think that's a great spot for him, and I think the Chargers need to have a hire like that. So that's why I see that hire like that. It's just a perfect hire, as is the Belichick hire.
Yeah, and like we said, the worst job going into, you got Tepper, the worst owner in sports right now, the Carolina owner. You have no first round pick this year. You're bringing back Bryce Young, who has looked really bad as a starter in the NFL, and he looks tiny on the field.
He looks tinier than
Kyler.
than Murray.
Yeah. Yeah, Bryce Young might be the smallest football player I've ever seen in an NFL game.
At least Murray's got some pecs. He's got some chest muscles.
Yeah. And he's thickly built, like, because he's a baseball player. Like, he's got,
Yeah. And he's quick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got the quickness. He's got a strong arm. He's just not tall.
No.
If he was 6'2", 6'3", he'd be unreal. He'd be Lamar if he was that. That's who he'd be.
Yeah. So Carolina, I guess they're going to get whoever's left. And
so they could get Flores.
yeah,
But Flores might get the job in Washington.
he might. He really might.
So a lot of movement. Black Friday. So Harbaugh goes. Let's switch college for a minute. It didn't take Alabama long to reload, and didn't take Washington long to reload.
No. Well, shout out to Nick Saban, who's one of the most successful coaches for whatever we think about him, right?
Saban. And Saban, I think he got tired of NIL and all that stuff.
I think he did
and
too.
I think he just said, I don't want to do this stuff anymore. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I would not want to be the guy coming in and take his place.
No, because you saw.
I mean, expectations are going to be ridiculous. And look how many of those people will be in the transfer portal.
Oh, their wide receiver, their best wide receiver was the transfer portal 5 minutes after Saban walked away.
Yeah.
And I think some of that could be, Saban walked away. Their quarterback was not a quarterback last year. I don't know if he's going to develop into anything, but, if I'm a wide receiver, I'm not excited having that guy throw me the football, I guess. Let's put it, leave it at.
So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. A bunch of people have declared.
Yeah.
Including Caleb Williams. But did you hear the scuttlebutt about him and the Bears?
No.
Apparently his team has made it clear that he does not want to be a Chicago Bear. So, I don't know what that'll mean behind the scenes, if the Bears can do anything, if they care, I don't know. But that's been making the rounds, that he's very, he almost, threatened he might just walk back to school if the Bears were thinking about picking him. Because he makes enough NIL money that they can't, force him. Which is pretty crazy.
who else is up at the top of these quarterback? They said Washington will take quarterback again, and they just took one.
Well, they took Sam Howell in like the fourth round.
Atlanta needs a quarterback. I wouldn't want to go to Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta, you got Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who people still say is good. He's
And
not good.
a new coach
Yeah, a new coach.
who made Bijan Robinson look ordinary.
Yeah. But if there was ever a coach who didn't mind getting fired, it's a billionaire. So,
Yeah.
but I think if you take that, I mean, if you get a decent quarterback in there, that's a really nice spot to be in. I think for Atlanta. And Washington's
Yeah.
not. I mean, new professional football team, all that good stuff. So
New ownership, spend money, hire good people.
yeah,
Yeah. Could be a good landing spot depending on what coach they get. And they're going to get a good coach. There's no doubt about that.
no
They'll
doubt.
go after Belichick hard too.
And then Vrabel is out there as well. So
Yep.
because just like with Alabama, who reloaded quick, the Patriots got Gerard Mayo 5 seconds after they let Belichick go,
Yep.
and everyone there seemed pretty happy with that decision. So Vrabel was kind of a surprise because I thought Vrabel was a really good coach.
I thought he was too.
I mean, I guess he and the GM do not get along. He wanted the GM out. The owner chose the GM over him. So there you go.
Yeah, and you know what I would say? How do you choose the guy that traded A.J. Brown?
Yeah, the guy that traded AJ Brown and brought everybody else he's brought in. Yeah, that's the guy to keep.
Yeah.
And traded.
$3,000.
Yeah. Wait, he traded AJ Brown and he drafted Burks, who has not looked like any part of AJ Brown.
No.
And he traded
Not
AJ
at
Brown, who
all.
was 26 at the time. Not an old man.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Well, we get some NBA.
Yeah. I mean, nothing has really changed that much, since we talked
Oklahoma and
last week.
Minnesota battling it out for number one in the West.
And Denver right there at 28-13. Just a game back. So
And the more I see Jokic, man, he is Larry Bird in a big body.
he is.
He can pass. I mean, some of his passes are ridiculous. He's good. I mean, he's ridiculously good.
Did you
He's
pay
one
any?
of those guys who has to be in the MVP conversation every year. And, he could legitimately win it every year, just like Giannis could win it every year.
Yeah, he could. Did you see the Carmelo beef he had this week?
No.
So Carmelo, who also wore number 15 when he played in Denver, which is Jokic's number. But granted,
Right.
Jokic came to the team 3.5 years, 4 years after Carmelo forced his way out. Carmelo
Right.
is saying Denver is disrespectful that they didn't retire his number. Which,
If Carmelo was half as good as he thought he was, he'd be really good.
yeah. And I would say a couple things to that. A, you forced your way out. They didn't give your number to somebody the very next season. They gave it to the 41st pick in the draft who was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, who nobody knew would be this good, right?
No. Except the guy that wanted to draft him, probably.
Except the guy that wanted to draft him, yeah. And then,
And he probably knew he was going to be good. But to your point, he probably didn't know he was going to be that good.
yeah. And I personally think of Melo as a Knick, where he played the majority of his career and had more All-Star appearances and more, technically, I guess, he had more gold medals, which doesn't really have to do with where he played in the pros. But,
Yeah.
like, he was a good Denver Nugget. I know people argue to this day that he should have won Rookie of the Year over LeBron in his first year. And he played 7 really nice seasons in Denver, but you force your way out. You play 7 years. Like, I don't think you're the Ring of Honor in Denver, right?
No, you force your way out anywhere.
Anywhere.
You're not going to be. And you know what? To me, his career highlight was Syracuse.
Yeah. That NCAA tournament. That was incredible. Like,
He was incredible then.
and then
But
his,
he reminds me of Isaiah Thomas. I mean, he was, toxic.
yeah. And,
Except for the end of his career. At the end of his career, he turned out to be a team player.
yeah. And Melo was, he says that his 3 gold medals are better than an NBA championship. So, I don't know what he's worried about a Denver Nugget, number four.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the silly Carmelo bringing up Jokic, and he was like, "I'm not saying Jokic isn't great, but he never should have got my number." All this kind of.
No, I'm kind of bummed out for Ja about that surgery and everything. He comes back, plays 9 games, really makes a difference, really makes the Grizzlies look good, and then he's gone again.
Yeah, because it looked like the Grizzlies, like everyone wrote them off, but all of a sudden you're like, well, technically they were 7 games, or at the time they were 6 games back of the eighth spot, or only 5 games back in the play-in. And a healthy Jaw, I think, would have been worth 5 or 6 wins easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of we have some real bad teams in the NBA this year with the Spurs, the Trailblazers, now the Grizzlies, the
Pistons.
Pistons, the Wizards, and the Hornets. But nobody is excited about this draft.
No, again, because you really don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, last year you knew Wemby, and so if there's another international player out there, we won't know about it.
no.
But Wemby, they started cranking up the hype machine really early on that. So,
But they think this might be another, the year
what do you
where
think, Edie? What kind of pro do you think Edie's going to be? The guy from Purdue.
it's, I don't, he doesn't seem like he fits super well in the like modern NBA, right?
He's slow.
He's slow. Yeah. I think,
I mean, he's big, but he's slow.
do you think he could be better than Hartenstein with the Knicks? Because Hartenstein can move a little bit. He's not as slow, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to have to be the right situation, the right team. I think he's the kind of guy, like if he was Joel Embiid's backup on the Sixers, it'd be really nice to have him coming off your bench. That kind of situation, if you're coming in for an established big, I guess, where you're not the
All right.
starter.
You know who I would take with my first pick in the NBA draft?
I don't.
Caitlin Clark. I'm serious.
Yeah, it'd be.
I'd take Caitlin Clark. You know who you're drafting? You're drafting Steph Curry.
Yeah,
That's exactly who you're drafting. You're drafting Steph Curry. And she hits from that beak of the Hawkeye all the time.
it's true. And there's no rule that she could not go play in the NBA, right?
Nope. No rule at all.
Okay.
So if we're really going to shake things up, that would be an interesting draft pick. That'd be my draft pick, though.
Yeah, because there's nothing on the books that says she can't go. She could declare for the NBA draft and go play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, people, you heard it on our show first.
Yeah, and especially in a year where nobody wants to
We're all
pick.
about DE and I, and so we want Caitlin Clark in the NBA, not in the W.
Yeah, I'm sure the WNBA would not be happy about that, but what are you gonna do?
I'm sure they would not be either.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's about all the. I mean, Draymond is back tonight.
Yep.
I-
All right, let's see how long this time.
I was not a fan of his apology. Did you watch
It's
it?
insincere.
Insincere, and whenever you add a but to your apology, there's no need to. There shouldn't have been it, but I'm going to keep playing Draymond's way. Like, is your way, punching your teammate, choking people out, and swinging wildly at people's heads? Like, I don't think we needed to hear, but I'm going to play my way. Like, you could have just been like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for a pretty crazy trade deadline. But it seems like the teams, like the Lakers, don't really have anything anybody wants. The Warriors need to make a trade. Nobody wants Clay. Nobody wants Wiggins. I don't know if anybody really wants Draymond.
No, I mean, besides them being on the downside of their careers,
Yeah,
they come with such a big price tag.
yeah,
And the only guy you're going to get for them is somebody else that's not playing well with a big price tag.
exactly. And I'm no D'Angelo Russell fan, and maybe if Levine was in a better situation, but Levine does not seem like a giant upgrade over D'Angelo Russell to me. I'm
You
not
know
saying.
what, though? I would make the trade because I think he would be better in a new situation.
Yeah, that's your hope.
That's my hope. I think he would really be. I'm not saying that. I don't know if D'Angelo Russell would be that good in a new situation. I do think Levine would be.
Okay.
If you surround him with the right guys, I think you get more out. I think he becomes a really good player.
'Cause if you're the
But if he
Lakers,
ended up on the Heat with Jimmy and that team, I think he plays really well. If he ended up on the Magic, I think he plays well too.
Well, we know the Magic, the Pacers, are definitely looking to add some players. The Knicks want to add one more guy. The Heat are always in business, right?
Yeah.
It'd just be really interesting to see, like,
Shout out to Dwayne Wade. They're going to put a Dwayne Wade statue in front of American Airlines. It used to be American Airlines Arena. I forget what it's called now. But in front of the Heat Arena, there's going to be a Dwayne Wade statue, which I think is a great idea.
that was a really nice moment because he was very emotional when he came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite all-time NBA players. A really good human. And a great player.
And a player that, when he needed to be the best player on the team, he was the best player. They won a championship. When he needed to take a backseat to LeBron, he took a backseat to LeBron. He won championships. So,
yeah.
Just, yeah. Always did what he needed done. And he was at the forefront of Heat culture. I mean, obviously with Riley and all those guys, but he was part of, if you're the best player on the team, you've got to be the guy that helps set the standard for Heat culture.
And you know what? When he left as a free agent to go to Chicago and then came back, he really knew what that culture meant, and he really, really helped really ratchet it up.
Yeah. Because as much as people like to say the joke, Heat culture, like, there is something to it.
No question.
No question.
Well, I got a bunch of food moments.
Okay.
All right, so food moment number one. Two of my food moments are from Goldbelly.
Okay.
The first one is Elle's Bells is a bakery in Montana. And my brother sent me a huckleberry cheesecake. And it was outstanding. I don't even know what huckleberry is. It's kind of like a blackberry raspberry kind of a thing. It was really good, but the cheesecake itself was soft, sweet, and creamy. It was really good.
Okay.
So Elle's Bells on Goldbelly, and they're from Montana. My second is Chicago pizza from a place called Pequod's.
Pequod's.
Which is not the kind of name you would associate with a pizza place, right?
I wouldn't think so, no.
But you got 3 deep dish pizzas that weren't overly big for like $90, and I had free shipping. And the crust and everything was really amazing. Really good.
Okay.
So those are 2 of my food moments. My third food moment is we were going to go out for my birthday, go to Capitol Grill, which I love Capitol Grill.
Solid.
And if you saw my postings yesterday on Twitter or Facebook, Mom made a prime rib, and I put that picture on there. It was every bit as good as any prime rib at any restaurant I've ever been in.
Okay.
So those are my 3 food moments.
I have sort of a homemade one myself. First, we got Bunny Bread makes a Texas toast. And
oh, yeah.
It's some of the softest, fluffiest bread I've ever had.
And does toast up really well?
Toast up really well. And, whether you have a burger or barbecue sandwich, Texas toast is amazing. But this morning, I made some very decadent French toast with the Texas toast. I used my eggs, my vanilla, and instead of milk, I used condensed milk.
Oh.
Which became like a thick, sweet, almost like a custard when you mixed it all together.
Nice.
Let that soak in. And then, got it on the hot grill, so I got 2 crispy sides. And it was almost like bread pudding on the inside. Didn't need any syrup. It was outstanding. So, obviously, you're adding a lot more sugar and carbs, but it makes a really good French toast. So, just keep that in mind.
I think Texas toast is so underrated.
It is.
Like at a barbecue restaurant or a chicken restaurant, it is my number one thing. I'd rather have that than a biscuit.
I don't know why it's so much better than regular bread. It just is.
It is thick bread, but if you crisp it on the outside and it is soft on the inside, that's a great thing.
It is. And like you said, it's the ideal with your brisket, pulled pork sandwich, like Texas, buttered, griddled Texas toast is the ideal sandwich bread.
I agree.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
And it makes awesome French toast.
I'm going to shout out, we watched the first night of Night Country, True Detective Night Country last night. And I would say it was really, really good. It was outstanding. I would absolutely recommend that to anybody. Oh, $10-0 bucks.
Yeah, I like the Bucks
Baker
tonight.
looks really good. Mike Evans dropped a touchdown on the 2 yard line, and David Moore just had a catch and run for 44 yards.
Oh wow,
I have a feeling the Bucks are going to blow them out.
it's possible. No AJ Brown. Hurts just looked like he's been banged up all season, and they just had a bad mojo about them. You know.
Yep.
I sadly don't have an
Uh,
entertainment moment for you.
oh, and then I just told Jason about this show. It's called True South. It's a Wright Thompson, one of my a Southern author, and it's not a sports program, but it's a program about food, culture, and music in the South. And so I watched an episode today for the first time, and it was on Hot Springs. By the time I get done watching it, Mom and I decided we're going to go to Hot Springs.
There you go.
So we're going to start watching that show on a regular basis.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm hoping to start True Detective, and that's been it. I haven't really had any entertainment moments. I've tried; they just haven't happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, there's another round of great football next week. Oh, and I do have one more thing. I watched the Hula Bowl the other day. Instead of playing in Hawaii, they played in Orlando. There's nobody there. But Spencer Sanders, who had left Oklahoma State in the portal and went to Mississippi and never played,
Yeah.
got in the fourth quarter. Looked like gold. I mean, he looked really good. He can run, and he's big, and he could throw. And he fell behind Dart at Mississippi. Never got to play. So somebody in the NFL draft, you should take a flyer on this guy in maybe the fourth, fifth, sixth round, or if he doesn't go, a free agent. Definitely worth a look.
Okay. Let's call the Steelers and tell them we need we're gonna need a third body because Trubisky's got to go.
Yeah, I would be happy if they did that.
Yeah. All right. So until next week.